before we dive into the keyword training today, I just wanted to let you all know, and maybe some of you know this, but LinkedIn has gotten rid of audio events. So audio events are no more on LinkedIn. We will be updating everything to remove audio events from it, but right now it's if you go to create an event, it's LinkedIn Live or nothing. And I had predicted this a while back. I'm actually not surprised. They're kind of glitchy. It's too bad because they were great. So it's kind of one of those things. We can't control the platform. We just have to work with it. So it is what it is. But if you want to do an audio type of a thing, I mean, there's ways to make audio graphics. And since I am doing this extensive new Canva training, which I'm breaking down into mini modules for you guys, one of the trainings that I will do is to show you how to embed audio on a graphic in Canva that you can upload. So not exactly the same, but it's something that you can use, right? So okay, I'm going to get into the training today. So today we're going to be talking about keywords. And then we will go into the strategic advisory questions that were submitted. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to give you is your workbook. All right, so I'm going to put your workbook in the chat here. And the workbook also contains the slide deck. So if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the workbook, the slide deck link is in there. I thought that would be easier than having multiple links. So I'm going to drop this again in the chat here in just a minute. All right. Okay. And then if anybody else asks, some of you could just drop this link again, I would greatly appreciate that. All right, so on to keywords. And I am just going to be sharing my screen how I normally do because I'm going to be going into some real life examples about how to do keyword research. Okay? All right. So let me share my screen and then we're going to dive in. So we're going to be talking about keywords today, and we're going to be talking about what keywords are, the types of keywords, important terms to know about keyword research. And then this is going to be the big difference between this training and any other training. I'm going to show you how to do keyword research today, how I would recommend. It's boring, but I'm going to show you how I would do it. Okay. And then I'm going to finish up, kind of make it full circle, and we're going to talk about where you can use keywords on LinkedIn, how many of them you should use. But this training really will serve you in every area of your business because the things that we're going to go over, you use this everywhere. Use this universally, right? Like this is not just a training that's just LinkedIn based. Keywords are for everything that you do, right? On landing pages, think anywhere that you want to be found. So if we come back to the presentation from market research, we have our little description here. A keyword is any significant word or phrase, especially a word used to describe the contents of a document. Basically, what that is if I am looking for a certain thing, I'm going to look at, let's say, Antonella's page overall, and I'm going to pull the main words that I get from Antonella's page. Those are the words that would describe her document. A document could be LinkedIn, a document could be your website, a document could be YouTube, a document could be any places where we use these words, right? So it's not, a keyword is just a word that is like, it sends you to a place. So if we go back to our market research presentation, keywords, if we get anything out of this presentation, keywords help us get found. That's the most important thing to remember with keywords. Keywords help us to be found. When people find us, then we can do market research to figure out what they want. Once we figure out what they want, that leads to conversion. And that's kind of the cycle we're going to go through with this. So we're going to talk about different types of keywords, which I haven't done with you guys before, but I think it's important that you understand different types of keywords. We have short tail keywords. I'm going to refer to these as seed words because these are the beginning of your keyword research. So these are words that are used in the beginning phases of keyword research. There are initial thoughts that come to our head when we think of what describes our brand. So if I am looking at one of your brands and we're kind of thinking, these are going to be our initial ideas, right? They're the seeds. And think about a seed that we plant and then we grow other keywords off of these. Does that make sense? The next thing is long tail keywords. Long tail keywords are keywords that contain 3 or more words. We're going to talk about what competition and search volume is in just a minute, but keywords, these type of keywords have lower competition, but they also have lower search volumes. And when you think about things like competition, you kind of got to balance search volume and competition, which we'll talk about on the next slide. Then I just added a few other things here because I think it's important that you understand different types of, like, even more nuanced, different types of keywords. There's transactional keywords. How many of you know what a transactional keyword would be? I have a great example of this. Like, they're used by users who are ready to make a purchase. I just bought flowers for my aunt for Christmas yesterday. I placed an order and bought flowers for her. What did I type right into? Like, flowers, Sacramento, California. Like, I'm ready to make a purchase, right? Those are transactional keywords. So those are people that are ready to buy keywords. And those are important. Now, you know, when you're coming up with your list of your seed words, I just want you to keep these 2 things in mind, because if I think about some of your businesses, that a lot of them are informational. So if I'm looking for information to solve my problem, that's different than going and directly making a purchase. Does that make sense, right? Like, I'm looking for more, like, if I have some sort of an illness and I need to go find information about that illness, or if I'm interested in maybe, like, I want to start doing yoga or something, and so I want to learn more about that, or maybe I want to learn something. Those are informational keywords, but transactional keywords are what a ready to buy person would be typing into the search bar. Obviously, those are really high value, right? They're also the hardest to find. Now, it's easy when you're selling flowers, I think, or something, because, like, I mean, you know, however, I will say there was a lot of competition for that because you can imagine when I put that in, it was like that here, this, add. So I just clicked on the first one, which is, you know, I think that tells you about the importance of ranking on these types of things. Okay, so then the next thing we're going to talk about are those important terms that I just talked about: search volume and competition. And when you're doing your keyword research, these are really important. Search volume is how many people are searching for this per month. Okay, so I mean, why would that matter? If not a lot of people are searching for it, do you want to use that as a keyword? It's like the shot in a dark type of a thing, right? If we use something with a low search volume, yes, we may get hits eventually, but if we're looking, I mean, to me, when I'm doing keywords, I'm primarily looking for higher search volume. Does that make sense? Because we want things that people are actually searching for. And if we're thinking about the billions of people that are using Google and other places to search, a higher search volume just makes more sense. And we'll look at numbers and things when we do examples. Now, for competition, that is how hard is it to be found using these keywords. And that's where, if we go back over here to long tail keywords have lower competition, but they also have lower search volume. But to me, long tail keywords are kind of the happy medium of keywords, and those are the ones that you ultimately want to go for. So if I think about this, if I'm just going to use the example of leadership throughout this whole entire presentation. But think about this. If I type the word leadership into the LinkedIn search bar, into the Google search bar, into all these things, is that a very specific search? And so if we use that as one of our keywords, is that going to really help us be found? The contrary, a long tail keyword could be leadership development coach. That's more of a specific search, right? That's a long tail keyword, and that's very specific. That is also an example of more of a transactional keyword, right? Because if I'm looking for that type of a coach, I'm probably looking to hire them. Does that make sense? Okay. So search volume and competition, those are going to be the things that we look at when we do our keyword research. That's what we're going to keep in mind when we're looking for keywords. So I've divided your keyword research up into phases. A lot of people do this differently. If you go on to Google and you start looking for, like how to do keyword research, you're going to get a million answers. And I'm guessing that you guys don't want the big complicated version. I think you just want what I want you to get out of this presentation today is some ideas on what to post about. Okay, yes, we should be using our content pillars, but that should also be infused with what people are searching for, right? Because then we can meet people where they're at. And an even better world, a perfect world, is where our content pillars are kind of led by our keyword research, right? Because if we do our keyword research properly, it's going to tell us the different areas that people are searching in, and it gives you an idea of the topics that you should be including. So, and this is the same for any type of platform. I just finished doing a YouTube keyword research, and what I got out of that keyword research were topics for my videos. So as you guys do this, and you may be on YouTube, you may be just on LinkedIn only, what I want you to think about is how these keywords can help you create content that helps you get better engagement, right? Because if we're looking at things that people are searching for, that's what's going to stop their scroll. That's what they want to see. We are meeting them at their search. Back to my original diagram. Does that make sense? Like that's what we're trying to get out of this. Okay. So when we come to think about what are our keywords, it could be overwhelming, right? It's like, where do I even get started? So here, I'm going to give you a few prompts, and I actually just thought I forgot to include something here. So we'll add that too. But the first thing is just, you need to get a document, and I have a keyword research bank for you in your workbook that you guys can use. But I want you to use that first tab. Actually, I'm going to pull it up here so you guys can see it. Here we go. I want you to use this first tab to just brainstorm some keywords. Don't worry about the search volume and the competition right now, but I want you to use this first tab, brainstorm some of these keywords. And what you're going to need to think about when we're brainstorming is, what is my ideal client typing into the search bar? Just off the top of your head, right? Top of your head, what are they searching for? That's how we're going to begin. And then I want you to think about, what are your ideal clients' most urgent pain points? The most urgent pain points are going to be those transactional keywords, right? They're going to be the ones that, if I'm searching for you, if I need to hire you, like, I keep looking at you, Antonella, but if I need to hire someone to help me with like my gut health, or help me with like my IBS or something like that, right? What exactly am I typing into the search bar? Because that's going to meet those people where they are. And that's going to be more of a transactional keyword. The next thing that I forgot to put here, a great place to go, because this may only get you so far. You may come up with like 10 and you're like, uh-oh, that's not very many, right? And that's okay. It doesn't matter. Like, there's a better way. Go to ChatGPT. Go to Claude.ai. Go to any type of AI thing and describe who your ideal client is and then ask for relevant keywords. Those are a good place to get started. If you are completely stuck, which some of you are going to be, and it's totally fine. But this is like, I just like in the realm of owning a business and understanding everything about like your ideal clients, you must know what they're searching for. A lot of you ask me every week, how do I find my ideal client? How many of you ask me that, right? This is a great way to get started. Okay. So when we ask ourselves these questions, this gives us our seed words. And if you're still completely stuck after this, you can go to market research and you can ask your people what they're searching for. That could easily be one of your questions that you include in your market research, or what have you been searching for on Google around this topic? That's great, right? And that could really give you direct answers. Okay, are we all following so far? So now we're going to get into actually how to do this. And there's some different layers of this, and I'm going to show you a few ideas. Now, we're going to take our list and we're going to go to different keyword research tools. These are literally just a handful. If you go to Google and you type in free keyword research tool, there's going to be all sorts of them. I have always been a big fan of Ubersuggest by Neil Patel. That's my favorite one. It's a free one. I'm a big fan of Neil Patel. Neil Patel owns Answer the Public, which we're going to talk about today too. So he's kind of, he and Seth Godin are kind of considered like the grandfathers of SEO, the like of marketing as modern marketing and things like that. So Neil just has, if you go to his website, he has amazing articles and resources on all things relating to keywords and marketing and using this type of thing. So in Ubersuggest, you can use the free version and easily get away with it. So just that, and if you have a website, it's even better. Okay, so if we're going to use the Google search bar to do this, back to my leadership. If I type in leadership, just like that, this is going to give me the start of some long tail keywords, right? This is like the dabbling way. This is definitely not the best way to do keyword research, but this is a place to get started with, okay? So if you don't want to go to the keyword research tools that I'm going to show you today, this can just give you an idea. Like maybe some of you today are like, okay, I just need something to post about today, right? Maybe just that's you. This is a great place to go to for that. The good thing about Google is when you do this, it's updated every day based on searches every day. It's already, so anything that you type in here would be better. And if we typed in like leadership coach, we could get even a little bit better. So the more specific we are here, then we see, right? Then we start seeing like leadership coaching programs. That would be an example of a long tail keyword. And that is where we would go to for our phase 2. So I'm going to go back here because I don't think I really kind of went through what phase 2 and 3 are. Phase 2, we are going to take those seed words and we're going to make them into the long tail keywords. And that's what I'm showing you by doing this keyword research. And then phase 3 is just organizing them. Phase 3 is completely optional, but you're going to be taking all of your keywords and organizing them into categories. If you do this correctly, I'll just be honest with you, when I did my keyword research, it took me about 9 hours, but what I was left with is enough content for the rest of the year for my YouTube channel. So it can be time consuming what I'm about to teach you, but it's absolutely worth it in my opinion, because it can give you an endless supply of what many of you are so wanting is content that your ideal client is actually searching for and actually wants to see. So you choose your own adventure here. You just want to do the Google search bar, phase one, do, totally fine, no judgment. But if you want to go the whole way through, you would start with phase one, which is your seed words that you would start putting in there. Then we would go to phase two and then to phase three. So with that said, how do we even get to phase two? So WordStream is the next example that I'm going to use. And I am going to just type in leadership here. And then it says, get my keywords. This is free. And I like WordStream because I don't have to sign in to get anything. Because I don't really like to sign up for things. I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm signed up for everything and I don't really like to sign up for things. So the nice thing about this is you can this is optional, but you could relate it to an industry. So if any of these matched, you could, like, if I wanted like business services, I could put that in there. And if I wanted to change the country, I could do that here. Then I'm just going to click continue. And this is what I'm talking about. This is true keyword research. We have arrived, right? These are examples of longer tail keywords. These are more nuanced keywords beyond your seed words. So what we're looking at here is search volume. Search volume is 135,000 searches per month. That's actually a lot lower than I thought it was going to be. And it's saying that the competition for it is low. I don't know. I don't know what I think about this with WordStream, but leadership style, we can go here, 60,500 and low. So low means low competition. That means it's easier to rank for it. But then we want to keep in mind how many people are actually searching for it. So, I mean, for me, 135,000 isn't really enough. If we think about, I don't know, I would probably want to see something. I don't know. I guess it's up to you and depending on what you do. And I think what you can do is as you're doing your keyword research, you can kind of look at the averages and look at the higher end for you. Because as you guys do this for different keywords, especially some of you that are really niche, you may come to me and say like, hey, like I'm getting like 5,000. That's what you have to work with, right? That's the area that you're working with. So I think I'm not going to tell you exactly what you should be looking for with the competition and the search volume because it's going to be completely different for all of you. However, what I will tell you is that on our calls like this, I will advise you. So if you pull up your keyword research, we can help kind of organize that. That makes sense. So that's WordStream. I prefer Ubersuggest. I think it's better, and I'm going to show you why. Okay, I'm already signed in and I have a free account. Before, I know some of you are going to tell me that like, oh, you have to pay for this. They're going to ask you to pay every which way. Find an X, click out of it. Don't pay for this. You don't have to pay for this. I've had a free account for ages. Yes, you're going to be limited in what you can do and you might get some ads and all that kind of stuff. Oh, well. So what you're going to want to do is if they ask you when you're coming into it to put your website in and you don't have one, just click off of all of that because you need to get into where it says keyword research. That's where we're going to go to. And then we're going to click keyword overview. And then we're going to type in leadership. And maybe we'll just do leadership coach to see what they come up with. You can change the language, you can change the location, whatever you want to change. So this is telling me that leadership coach is average, but what it also tells me here, which I really like, is the difficulty of using it. So 56, that means it's like, it's kind of difficult to rank for it, right? We would want to see something a little more over here. Then if you're running ads or things like that, you can kind of see the paid difficulty over here. All right. And you can see the breakdown per country as to how people are searching for it. And then if we come all the way down here, you can see even more like keyword ideas, which I really love. So Neil breaks it down for you in terms of suggested keywords to use for this, questions, which are questions that you could potentially use for content, prepositions. So these are also just things that you can fuse into your content. And then comparison. These are comparison style searches. And then even more so, he's going to link to some ideas of good content down here using those. So can we see the difference between WordStream and Ubersuggest and why I would suggest something like Ubersuggest? Like this, much better, right? Like in terms of the picture of what we're going to use. Now, I will say that if you click into view all of these things, some of the stuff may be grayed out because you have to upgrade. I'm personally like, I think that if you're going to do it, like keyword research is important. I cannot stress this enough. If I was going to upgrade, I would maybe do, I don't know, I might do something where I could do it for a month. I don't know if with Ubersuggest you can do it for a month. I think you have to pay annually. So the other thing I can just tell you is take, you know, I mean, even if you get 50 content ideas, that's 50 content ideas that you didn't have, right? So take what you can get. Don't be frustrated by paywalls. All of these things have paywalls so that they can keep the free stuff free. So does this make sense, right? And so when we go back over to our keyword bank, we're going to be filling in the search volume and the competition as we get more ideas from our original ones. So if I had like leadership coach here as one of my original ideas, I'm going to go to phase 2 after I did this. This isn't the right Ubersuggest. After I did all of this, and I'm going to put some of these in my phase 2. Okay. And the ones in phase 2 are going to be the ones that you want to use. Seed words are very difficult to rank for, and those are the words that just get us started. That's why when I see people doing things like hashtag motivation, leadership, things like that, those aren't going to get you anywhere, right? Motivational speaker is a better keyword than motivation, right? I want you to think about, instead of just using random things, and we're going to talk about hashtags. I'm sure you guys are going to ask me that. We're going to talk about how this relates to hashtags at the end of this training. But I just want you to think about getting better. So if you've ever done keyword research in the past, think, how can I make those initial seed words? How can I make them better? Okay. All right. Let's go back to, let's see where we're at in the prep. So this is just Google. I showed you some slides on WordStream and then Ubersuggest. But the other thing that I know some of you guys were asking about Answer the Public. So I wanted to show you Answer the Public too. How many of you have been here to Answer the Public? I really like Answer the Public. However, I will tell you that, you know, the first thing is you're going to want to register. This is one of those things where you will want to sign up. You do get 3 daily searches, and you get to see your searches in a historical like layout. So it is worth it to sign up for Answer the Public, and it's just answerthepublic.com. So if I were going to come here and I wanted to do like leadership, let's just do leadership coach, and we're going to search for it. It takes a minute to get this going, but this is even more in depth than I think even Ubersuggest. So see, and it's going to tell me I need to sign in, which I have not. If you go through this wheel, it's going to ask me, what can a leadership coach help with? That's a topic for you, right? That's a topic that you could do with your content. How to become a leadership coach. I don't know that would be really relative for, unless you trained people on how to be a leadership coach. But it looks like a lot of these questions around leadership coaches are people trying to become a leadership coach. What is a leadership coach? Leadership coach salary, all of those things. You can go to the list then, and you can also see a list of this. However, to see all of the information that you might want to see for this, the search volume and everything, you have to pay for it. So I would still just take this list and start using this list, right? It's starting information. If you don't want to pay for it, these are good pieces of starting information. Okay. All right. Let's see. So answer the public, just, I mean, if you can, if you wanted to upgrade for it, if I were going to upgrade for anything, I might do answer the public just because I love the wheel and I love the topics that it gives. That if I were gonna, and the only reason I'm saying this is because you guys ask me this all the time. I get messages from you on LinkedIn and everything all the time asking me what you should upgrade, what you should do. Keyword research, I'm just gonna just put this out there, is more important than almost anything in your tech stack. It's more important than, you know, if you needed to hold off on your Canva account for a free, you know, a few months and just do like a couple of free trials, keyword research is going to help you meet your ideal client where they're at. And most of you, I would say, in the academy are struggling with your content. How many of you feel like that's true? Like that you're struggling with your content and getting your content to become that engagement tool that you need it to be, right? And I see a question here about leadership. It is true that you may discover, like the whole thing with the leadership coach, as I did that one, and this is just a random example, but as I did that one, what I discovered is that most people were searching to become a leadership coach. So I may change my search based on the information that it gives me, because I may not be interested in teaching people how to become a leadership coach. I don't want people coming to me if I'm not going to teach them how to be a leadership coach. But it's going to give you information, right? Yeah, it is. That's big information. So I just want to stress the importance of this. Like, if you are feeling like you're not getting a lot of engagement, if you're feeling like you just don't know what to say, you don't know how to meet your ideal client where they're at, stop what you're doing and do some keyword research and get some ideas. Because if we're not putting the content that people want to see in our feed, I don't care how many people you connect with, it's not going to stop their scroll, right? And what's going to stop my scroll more than when I see Antonella posting something that I just searched about last week? Like, there's the answer to my question, right? And she knows it. She goes up to the top of my list just like that. Does that make sense? Because we're truly meeting people where they're at. And to me, when we're thinking about what to do for content, keyword research should dictate it. Your content pillars should be your structure framework, but the keyword research fuels the things that are in your content pillars, right? So I'm going to just do a couple more slides and then I'll take some questions here. So then, like, how does this even relate to LinkedIn, right? Like, that's probably what we're thinking. Where can we put keywords? Well, I'm glad you asked, because you can put them everywhere. You can put them in your headline, and I have a little asterisk next to that because I'm gonna like kind of talk about how I would do this. You can put them in your summary and your about section, your featured section descriptions. So when we put a link in our featured section, we know we can write a little blurb underneath it. Perfect place to put some keywords, right? Don't just put, hey, book a call with me, right? Book a call about the thing, right? Or book a name your call something that is based in keyword research. That's even better, right? That takes it up like 10 notches. Articles, I put an exclamation point next to articles because articles are not hidden behind the wall of your personal profile. And let me explain what that means. So I always give the example of your Facebook profile, because on Facebook, I have to connect, I have to like send you a friend request, right? To be your friend on Facebook. And so your content is kind of hidden behind that wall. And on LinkedIn, it's kind of the same thing. unless you are doing articles. Articles are not hidden behind any type of wall. So articles are the things that are going to rank higher on Google search. So if I'm trying to find Antonella, or if I'm trying to find something real, if she has put an article out about, and this could be, you could take one of your posts and put it into an article. I'm not going to find her for the post that she did about it on Google. I'm going to find her for the article that she did about it. And I see some of you on here that really prefer like video. You can embed videos into your articles if you did not know that. So there's lots of possibilities here. There's lots of ways to connect things. Newsletters are slightly more gatekept than the article. The article is why I put the exclamation point next to it. Event descriptions are huge. So if you do any type of LinkedIn event, you are going to want to make sure that that description is keyword optimized. So if any of you have events coming up, if any of you have any type of anything like that coming up, make sure that you're optimizing that. Your posts, and again, we're going in order of importance here. But then the other thing, and I know some of you, I'm going to be answering some questions about your company page today. Your company page is not hidden. Your company page ranks higher when it comes to keywords. I'm not telling you to do a million different things because I don't want you to do a million different things. However, having a company page, even if it's to put a couple of posts on it that are keyword optimized, even if it's to put a couple, just anything on it that's keyword optimized, if I'm going to the Google search bar and searching for something, the things that are going to come up first are not your personal profile, are not any of these things. They're your articles and your business page. Those are like the top things. So if you're thinking about what to do, you could always take some posts that you've done on your personal page and put them onto your business page, making sure that they have those keywords in them. What I'm going to tell you about the headline and the asterisks that I have here, I'm not a fan of putting a ton of keywords into your headline. Here's why. If I put a keyword anywhere into my profile, whether it's in my summary, my headline, my featured section, it's the same, right? Your headline is so important for people to learn about you and what it is that you do. And so if you're trying to make that keyword infused, you may that's not to say that you may have some luck with it, and you can, but what I'm telling you is don't try to force it. Above all, clarity, right? Because when I go to your profile, I need to know what you do. Period. I need to know what you do. Now, if we have a headline and we have our statement that we feel good about, doesn't really have a bunch of keywords in it, but it's got a good picture of what we do, we can always use supporting statements and supporting words after that initial statement that are more keyword based. I think that's a good way to do it, but never compromise that beginning real estate in your headline to try to jam keywords into it, right? Because we've all been there. That it doesn't work very well. Like you read somebody's and you're like, okay, but it is what we do. I need to know that you're for me. If I'm looking to hire you, I need to know that you're for me. So that's the one disclaimer I'm going to tell you about your headline is don't be so focused on the keyword aspect of it. Be focused on being as clear as humanly possible on what it is that you do and how you help me if I'm your ideal client. Okay, hashtags. People are still using hashtags on LinkedIn. Hashtags are keywords. If any of you have watched my training that I do during the Lead Gen Masterclass, I've said this a million times. It's not, you can use hashtags or you can use keywords. It doesn't really matter. But you don't need to have a whole list of hashtags at the end that says like hashtag this, hashtag that. If they're included in your post or your article or whatever, they're going to be found whether or not they have a little hashtag in front of them. And to me, I think they're going to be found a little bit more if I'm looking for like leadership style. If you have those words together, I don't think it's as effective as having them separated. I'm not a huge fan of using hashtags on LinkedIn. I have read so much literature on this, and I'm just not convinced that they do anything. Keywords are the way to go. But if you are determined to use hashtags, make sure that they're grounded in all of the things that we've talked about today. They need to follow those same principles. Don't just put random hashtags in there. They need to be keywords that in keyword phrases that people are searching for. So does that make sense? Like it's optional, but it's not really optional to use like overall to use keywords. I guess it is. At the end of the day, I can't tell any of you guys to use keywords. You can do whatever it is that you want to do. However, if I were recommending, I would recommend that you just focus on using the words that your people are searching for. That's it. Like don't make it more overly complicated. Just focus on using the words that people are searching for. So, somebody also asked a great question here. Is there a way to research keywords on LinkedIn? I would definitely not recommend doing keyword research on LinkedIn. Number one, you're limited in the amount of searches that you get. And number two, it's not going to give you the broad strokes worldview that you need to see. These tools that I'm showing you today are going to give you the bigger picture of what everybody, like the world at large, is searching for. You can be found on LinkedIn through Google. That should be all of your goal, is for people to find you through Google, right? Like most people, when we search for our problems, if I am searching for a random problem that I have, I pretty much guarantee you that the majority of the world is not going to the LinkedIn search bar to search for that. They're going to the Google search bar. They're not, or they're just voice messaging it into their phone and searching for it, right? So using the bigger keyword research tools is definitely the way to go to find the ones that you want to be using. If we're looking at LinkedIn and how people are searching for things on LinkedIn, we're going to come up with a much more limited view. And I would tell you, like, if we looked at the amount of people that are actually using the LinkedIn search bar, people are using the recommendations that LinkedIn pulls for them in order to connect, unless they're in a program like this and they know better. Those are the methods that the majority of the world is looking for things on LinkedIn. So, the slides for today's presentation are also in the workbook. They're linked in the workbook below. And so is the Google Sheet that I am referring to. All of them are in the bottom of the workbook, along with all of the links that I have talked about today. What I want to tell you about keywords is that keywords are the long game. Now, I have had people put keywords in articles on LinkedIn and get results immediately from it. Like, and that's the fastest. But if we're looking at using keywords in our posts and things like that, you know, you're going to see the benefits right away if you haven't been using them. But in general, keywords are think about the word keyword and associate it with the word legacy. You are leaving your legacy in the world, in the searchable world, in the internet, however you want to look at it. Keywords are leaving breadcrumbs for people to follow you, to find you, right? Based on the content that you do. So there are definitely something that you should be focusing on. And if you are, especially if you're stuck with your content, if you're not seeing the engagement that you want, if you're not seeing the traction that you want, keywords are definitely a place to revisit. That's why I've done these two trainings together, the keywords and the market research, because those are the areas when you're stuck, those are areas to start to revisit. Because think about this, you can sit there and create weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of content based on what you think in your head people are searching for or people want. This is grounded in fact. This is not just the biggest downfall of entrepreneurship is living in a vacuum. and doing our research in a vacuum. The vacuum that's here, Melissa says this to me all the time. I was just talking to her this morning when she was talking about needing another set of eyes on something, because it's the truth, right? Like when you're doing things like this, getting a opinion based in fact is going to give you a better foundation to build off of.